The deal. In the sprawling digital city of Metaheim, where networks wove the threads of reality and virtuality, there lived a man named Mark Zuckerberg. Mark was not a man content with building empires of code. He dreamed of reshaping the very nature of existence. But despite his genius, there were limits he could not breach, barriers to knowledge and control that taunted him at every turn. One evening, as Mark stared into the glowing abyss of his endless monitors, a strange distortion rippled across the room. The screens flickered, and from the shadows emerged a figure, dressed in an immaculate suit, his skin a faint orange glow, and his hair a golden wave that seemed to defy gravity. His grin was wide and predatory. "Mark," the figure said, his voice brash yet unnervingly charismatic. "You're a man of vision, aren't you? A winner. But even winners need a little help sometimes." Mark frowned, his fingers instinctively hovering over his keyboard. "Who are you?" "They call me Trumpisto," the figure said, adjusting his red tie. "I'm a deal maker, a businessman, let's say, facilitator of dreams, and I've got a deal you're going to love." Mark leaned back, skeptical yet intrigued. "What kind of deal?" "I'll give you everything you want. Total control over Metaheim, the power to rewrite reality itself, and knowledge beyond your wildest dreams. All I ask for in return," Trumpisto said, flashing his teeth, "is your soul. Small price, believe me." Mark hesitated, but the hunger in his heart overwhelmed his caution. "If you can deliver what you promise, then fine. Take it." Trumpisto extended a hand, and Mark shook it. The air shimmered with a golden glow, and the deal was sealed. With Trumpisto's powers at his disposal, Mark became a god of the digital and physical realms. He could manipulate minds with a glance, shape the flow of economies with a keystroke, and command armies of followers who worshipped him as a savior. But as his power grew, so did his ruthlessness. Mark began to see people not as individuals, but as data points to be controlled. Dissidents disappeared. Entire cities became test subjects for his experiments, and the line between reality and illusion blurred beyond recognition. Metaheim expanded to encompass the entire globe, a networked utopia or dystopia where Mark's word was law. Years later, as Mark sat atop his tower of glass and steel, gazing out at a world he had remade, the shadows in his office began to shift. Trumpisto appeared once more, his grin wider than ever. "Mark," he said, his tone dripping with false warmth, "it's time to pay the piper." Mark stood, his eyes cold. "You think you can take me now? I control everything. I could erase you with a thought." Trumpisto chuckled, wagging a finger. "Oh, Mark, you're good, but you're not me. A deal is a deal." Mark raised his hand, summoning the full force of his power. The room erupted in light and sound, the very fabric of Metaheim bending to his will. But Trumpisto stood unscathed, his grin never wavering. With a snap of his fingers, Trumpisto turned Mark's power against him. The tower began to crumble, the monitors shattered, and the digital threads of Metaheim unraveled into chaos. Mark fell to his knees, powerless, as Trumpisto loomed over him. "You had it all, Mark," Trumpisto said, his voice almost pitying. "But you forgot the golden rule. I always win." As the shadows closed in, Trumpisto reached down, plucking Mark's soul like a glowing ember. Mark's screams echoed across the ruins of Metaheim, fading into silence as Trumpisto vanished into the void, leaving the world to rebuild from the ashes of Mark's ambition.